Hello, everybody, and welcome in the new year. Happy 2021 to everybody. I hope you had a good start into the new year, and let's keep our fingers crossed that 2021 will be an improvement in comparison to 2020. Let's hope for that. But beginning of the new year is also the time that we bookish people, look at the reading year ahead and set our plans, make our goals, so that we know that we failed towards the end of the year. Now, I love making, plans and then deviating from them because that's part of the fun. But there are a couple of things that I really set my mind to doing and I want to share them with you. Oh, and in case you are interested about the failing, in December I looked back at my reading plans and goals for 2020 and see how I did. So if you're interested in that, I will leave a link to that video down below. So for 2021, some of the goals, I'm sure that you are not surprised. If you're following along with my channel, you know there are a couple of things that I always try to improve, read broadly, read from all over the world, not only European or Western, American, British literature. And so the first challenge that I will participate in again, I did that also last year, but sort of fell off the wagon in the second half of the year, so I want to do better. And that's the Read Around the World book club run by Mel, who used to have a channel, Mel's Bookland Adventures, but she stopped doing BookTube. But I heard in the grapevine that she might come back in 2021. That would already be an improvement, compared to 2020. So anyway, if you're not familiar, I will leave a link to the Goodreads site down below. It's actually quite easy. The members vote on a new book to read each month. We read fiction and non-fiction, and the premise of the book club is that we read a book by a female writer from a different country each month. So Mel comes up with countries, she orders them alphabetically or whatever, throws a pin, and then she gives us 3 choices, and we vote, and then we read that book. And like I said, I fell off the wagon in 2020 because I used to, really participate, read the book, but for some reason, I fizzled out. So I want to do better in 2021. And the first book we're going to read in January is a book by a Tahitian indigenous author from French Polynesia, and that is Chantal T. Spitz, The Island of Shattered Dream, translated from the Dreams. We should at least get the titles right in 2021. How about that? The Island of Shattered Dreams, translated from the French by Jean Anderson. It was published originally in 1991, but it has been translated only a couple of years ago. So sometimes it takes a lot of time. And it is a family saga set in French Polynesia around the experiments or proofs, or however you call that, with the atomic bomb stuff. So it's political family saga. I'm not picking up the book because I, read the blurb and thought, oh, that's an interesting story, but because it is from a country that I've never read a book from. And it's the first read in Read Around the World book club. So there you go. And the second challenge I also do every year, and I did pretty well last year, is the challenge done or proposed by the Reading Women. You probably know, I'm sure you are familiar with that. Kendra Winchester, she also has a BookTube channel. I will leave a link to her channel down below. And she has set up this podcast where she and other contributors interview writers. They talk about books, but they also come up each year with a challenge, 24 prompts in order to help us readers read more female authors and also read more broadly if we're looking for female authors. So the prompts vary. For instance, I will leave the prompt here, but you can also see it on the website if you click the link below. But just to give you an example, read a book with a biracial protagonist, read a book where the cover design was designed by a female artist. So they come up with these female-oriented prompts, if you will, but also surprising prompts that make you look at your reading from a different angle or look for a book from a different angle. And I always like that. And I often what I do is I come up with books at the beginning of the year that I want to read, and then I see in which category they fit. And then I just start on reading, and in the second half of the year, after the first half is done, I have a look which prompts I still haven't read a book yet, and then I'm really, looking for books trying to fit with the prompt. But that's just my way of doing it. But I think this is a really, really a good challenge if one of your aims is, to broaden your reading in whichever way. So I hope that I will do as well as I did in 2021. No, in 2021 than I did in 2020. Not even getting the year straight yet. Some things never change now, do they? And the third challenge or book club, or however you want to call it, that I'm participating is a new one, and that is the Book Naturalists-Bookclub. And it's run by Doris from All the Books and Heidi from My Reading Life. They both made an announcement video. I will leave the link also down below. You can check that out. And they don't do the group on Goodreads. They do. They have an Instagram page. They have a Twitter account. They will also use YouTube for maybe a live event. Basically, what they are doing, they're picking a book about the natural world each month that they read, and they invite us to read it with them. And I'm a city girl. I mean, yeah, it's since I became friends with Heidi and Doris and read books with them, is that I'm expanding my horizon also on the nonfiction front, reading about the natural world. That's just not something that I automatically just by myself gravitate towards. And I read a couple of wonderful books. So I think this is a really, really lovely new book club, and it's one book a month. And they announced the books that they will read. I think they announced now the first quarter. So the first 4 books. So you have time, first of all, to get the books from the library, or if you are so inclined to buy them, but also, to think whether the books fit in your reading. So yeah, I love it. And the first book, and now I have to open my Word file because the name is difficult. The first book that we read in January is Amy Nezukumatatil, World of Wonders. And it's an essay collection about the natural world. And it sounds really wonderful. The book is available on Script, by the way, if you just want to try it out, maybe. So I want to participate in this book club. Maybe not each and every month. I'm sure there might be a month where the book just doesn't appeal to me, but I'm aiming at least for 9 books out of the 12 to read with the 2 ladies. So that's a new challenge that I'm gonna start in 2021, and I'm really excited about that. And then there are a couple of things that I want to include in my reading plans. First of all, things that I started in 2020, and that is the Louise Erdrich project. Together with Terry from Miss Terry B, I'm reading all of Louise Erdrich's novels in publication order. And she published too many novels to read in 1 year, so we still have 4 novels to go, including her last one. That means we will continue with this challenge or plan until April. And I'm really loving it. Another thing that if you watched my video about the 2020 goals and how I did, was that one of my goals was read classics or read more classics. And I didn't do well at all with that challenge. I read 4 classics or something. And I realized that the goal was too vague for me. The year before, I did a much more precise goal to read all of Jane Austen's novels in publication order. You know, that appeals to the sort of list making precise nature of my, at least part of my brain. And so I thought I should do something similar in 2021. And I still want to, broaden my classic reading. And I came up with George Eliot. Because I think she's a fascinating Victorian writer. I have a biography by her about her that I haven't read yet, and I have read only 2 of her novels, Middlemarch and Silas Marner. And the other, I think there are 5 left or something, I haven't read yet. And I thought that is a project that is in size manageable. Even though her books are huge. The first one I will read, Adam Bede, is like a 500-600 page book. So she doesn't write short books, but still, I only have 4 or 5 novels left, and I think I can manage within the year. So that is my classics project for 2021. And the last thing that I want to sort of put a focus on or spotlight on, especially once I have finished the author spotlight, as I called the reading plan with the Louise Erdrich, I was looking for something to replace that. And as I'm already focusing on George Eliot, I didn't want to have another author. So I thought maybe a genre would be a good idea, to put some focus on a genre. And as you know, if you follow my channel, I really enjoy science fiction. But I also realized that I have huge gaps in the more modern classic sci-fi books written by women. I read a lot of the modern classics and Asimov and Dune and, all dudes. So I thought, that's not good for a channel that calls itself The Second Shelf and wants to promote works by women. So my sort of spotlight for 2021 is the sci-fi genre, and then focusing on older books, modern classics by female author. I have never read Lee Brackett. I have never read Joanna Russ. I've never read, no, that's not true, but I have read maybe 4 or 5 books by Ursula Le Guin. I haven't read the Earthsea series, for instance, the series that started her fame. So there is a lot for me to explore. If you have suggestions for sci-fi classics, modern classics written by a female author, leave your suggestion down below. I'm happy to include it. I will leave a link to my Goodreads page for the Sci-Fi Project 2021 down below. There you can see which authors I have already marked. Nalo Hopkinson, for instance, never read her. I read Octavia Butler, so I read some, but there's still a lot to explore, and I want to put a spotlight on that genre that I love so much. So you will probably hear quite some talk about sci-fi books on this channel. I hope that you will enjoy that. Anyway, these are my sort of book club plans, challenge plans, goals, reading plans for 2021. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know whether you have any specific plans reading in 2021. Oh, by the way, one other remark. I am on Goodreads, as you might know, and I always get questions when I fill in my reading challenge, the books you want to read in a year, and I always fill in 177, which is an odd number, but I have difficulty finding a good number that sort of fits, because I don't really look at that number. It's just something that I like to see, and it's my birthday, the 17th of July. So, in case you were wondering. Anyway, I'm looking forward to your comments. Again, have a happy and healthy 2021, and I'll see you all soon in the next one.